Hello, my fellow speakers. This is Brian, the speaker for the dead, and that mic's whipped way too high. All right, so this was kind of an impromptu thing, mainly because I've been listening all day to the Star Trek talk from other people, and I wanted the chance to talk too, dang it. Anyway, so this, like I say, this is not going to be really super prepared and stuff. I just want to talk to you guys about Star Trek. For those of you who don't know, I'm a huge Star Trek fan. Probably my first real love for science fiction developed because of Star Trek. The original series. I watched it and watched it and watched it when it was in syndication, when it was doing reruns back in the day, and just absolutely loved it. So it has just been a major part of my life ever since. And sorry, I'm trying to click on several things here at the same time. Do multiple things all at once. Really professional, huh? But I wanted to talk about this tonight because Picard, Star Trek Picard is a thing right now. And I've watched the first episode tonight and wanted to kind of talk about it. Overall, first impressions, it wasn't that bad. I know, ringing praise, right? But no, I mean, I have to say, it wasn't as bad as I was expecting. I've heard lots of different reviews and lots of different people talking about this. And I've heard people saying that that it is better than what they were expecting, that it's not Star Trek Discovery, which is not Star Trek at all, in my opinion, or at least that's what I'm hearing. I refuse to watch Star Trek Discovery just because of everything I know about it. And that's not Star Trek. That's not Star Trek to me. That doesn't sound like Star Trek. It sounds like they've taken the skin of Star Trek and then slapped it on something horrible. And I don't want to support something like that, and so I refuse to. But I heard Star Trek Picard was a better project or a better product of Star Trek than what we've been getting. So I thought, all right, I'm going to give this a shot and see what there is to this. So I didn't hate it, and there were parts of it that I thought were good, but there's more that isn't good than is, as far as what I can see so far. I've only watched the first episode, haven't watched the second episode yet, so I'm hearing mixed reviews on the second episode, but I can tell you this is not the Star Trek Captain Picard we knew from Next Generation. Okay, looks like him, sounds like him, and I mean vocal quality, but it's not him. This is not that Picard. This Picard is defeated and waiting to die by his own admission in the show. That's when he says. And then towards the end of the first episode, he goes, "I've just been waiting to die, and I'm not doing that anymore." So you get a little bit of the old Picard back, but the old Picard, the Picard we knew, would never have done this, would never have reacted this way. But then you could say that about everything in Star Trek Picard. Starfleet would have never abandoned the Romulans. Starfleet would have never created a race of androids to be servants. The whole premise behind the show is not Star Trek. It's taking Gene Roddenberry's idea and turning it 180 degrees on its head and going Star Trek, and it's not Star Trek at all. So I actually could be okay with this show if it was not called Star Trek Picard. If Patrick Stewart, Sir Patrick Stewart, had just come back into sci-fi and decided to do something else in science fiction and created a character similar to Picard, but without the Star Trek veneer on it. So he wasn't held to all of that lore and mythos that was involved in the original Star Trek. Then it would mean something different. So let me show you what I mean. So there will be spoilers in this. Okay, if you're going to watch this, there will be spoilers. So don't. If you haven't seen the first episode of Picard, and I should have put that warning in the description, I apologize for that. There will be spoilers in this. If you've not seen the first episode, run away. So I just want to show you what I mean, that this is not Star Trek as you knew it. Let me just share my screen with you here. This was the first original Romulan ship we ever saw. This was the first one we ever saw from the original series, from Balance of Terror. So this is what, you know, the original designs looked like. What it Curtis YZ. Nope, I disagree. Oh, okay. Well, hear me out here. So, so this is what that ship looked like. This is where we were when the show started. And then we all remember Next Generation when we first saw this. Now, I remember the first time I saw this ship, I thought, that is quite possibly the coolest spaceship I have ever seen in my life. But I can't believe, I remember seeing this and just about losing my mind, thinking how cool this was. Curtis, no, I'm not Trekkie, really more interested. Yeah. And they are destroying stuff. I have to agree. Oh my gosh. So I just, so I mean, this is where we were. And then, in the films, we ended up with this. This was the next iteration of the Romulan ships that we saw. And okay, that still looks wrong. I mean, it was still cool. It was still awesome. This was from the Next Generation film. So this was from Nemesis, where we first saw this ship. Okay. And now let's look at what is passing for Romulan ships now. Let me just show you that again. That's the new Romulan ships. What? I don't even know what to say about this. I saw those and I'm just like, you bastards. I just remember thinking that. I'm like, you went from this and this to this. What? Yeah, it does. I'm just like, they yeah, Curtis, I don't understand. I just, it's just lame. It's not. I'm just like, I want to say this more than anything. I am okay with them updating Star Trek, with them changing a few things, with them bringing in some different storylines. I'm not one of these people who think it's got to stay the same and it's always got to be the same and never ever change my Star Trek. That's not me. I'm not. That is not the guy. That is not the guy I am. I'm okay with change, but it's got to stay in line with what came before. You can't just, like I said, you can't take it as something and do a 180 with it and then go, yes, this is still what you think it is. No, it isn't. You've completely changed it. You've taken something great and you've lessened it. You've taken away from what was supposed to be great about this show. I mean, they've completely altered Star Trek. They've completely altered how Starfleet would have reacted. They've completely changed everything. And it's the same thing we're getting from Star Wars. And I'm not a Doctor Who fan at all, never even seen the show, but I hear from Doctor Who fans that they're just like they're just crapping all over that. I mean, and these are some of the oldest science fiction franchises that are still running, that are still successful. So it's kind of drastically changed for yeah, yeah, yeah. It is. It's like if they took the Millennium Falcon, called it the Millennium Falcon, and completely made it look nothing like the Millennium Falcon. It's like, what? Why would you do that? So I mean, or if they took a cool ship like the Millennium Falcon and put little tiny bird things all over it, nesting. It's like if they did that, it would ruin the Millennium Falcon. You know, I have to admit, in the last Star Wars, at least there were no porgs. The porgs were gone. But seriously, I have no problems with updating and changing a little bit the franchise, but to completely go in a different direction, this show sounds more like 20th century speak. Like they're talking like we would talk right now. I hear they drop F-bombs. I didn't see that in this episode, the first episode. They drop F-bombs. The girl, when she's talking to her boyfriends, is like, that's totally cool. Oh. And I'm just like, and then the dialogue bothered me in this show. It was like awkward and clunky at times, where it was just like it didn't feel like it flowed. So for example, when Daj, I think's her name, that's how much of an impression she made on me. I don't even remember her name. I think it's Daj, whatever. Insert name, bland chick. Meets Picard. She comes on to Chateau Picard, walks around the corner, and Patrick Stewart gets up. I mean, Captain Picard, pardon me. Patrick, or what it is Captain Picard being played by Patrick Stewart. I mean, I was like, what? Wait a minute. Is that supposed to be the other way around? Isn't Patrick Stewart supposed to be playing Picard, not Picard playing Captain or Patrick Stewart? And that's kind of the way I felt. I was like, this is just Patrick Stewart being himself in front of a camera with a different name tag on. Nope, I'm Captain Picard today. Anyway, so she walks around the corner and Picard gets up and he's like, what are you doing here? And it just, I was like, boop, and I mean, it popped me right out of the narrative. I'm like, what are you? That's something you say to somebody you know or somebody you don't like. You know what you would say in that situation? Who are you? Or can I help you? Or do I know you? You know, if somebody walks onto your property, you don't know them, never seen them before. They're just like, that is, you were not going to ask it that way. And that's what I mean. It felt like, I'm like, wait, was that the first take or was that the second take? Or that doesn't make, and then the conversation that they have, she walks over, somebody killed my boyfriend and then something happened to me, lightning hit me and I just went crazy and I killed all these people. I'm like, and Patrick Stewart's like, it's all right, sweetie, don't worry about it. Okay. Hey, Captain Picard, she just told you she killed a bunch of guys. She doesn't really tell them how many. She's killed a bunch of people. And you're going, that's okay. It's fine. It's all good. I'm Captain Picard. You don't need to worry. But I feel safe with you. If I was Captain Picard, I'd be like, well, I'm not feeling so safe myself. No, not at all. But yeah, I mean, it's still Patrick Stewart, and I love Patrick Stewart, but I'm just like, you're supposed to be playing Captain Picard. You're not supposed to be being you. It's what I hate about Michael Gambon. I don't know if you know who he is. He replaced Richard Harris as Dumbledore in the Harry Potter films. And every character Michael Gambon plays is Michael Gambon playing another person in a different movie, but it's still Michael Gambon. He does not change to alter how, like, his acting is just him running around on scene or on set being himself. That's not acting. That's you being you in front of a camera. That's what I'm doing right now. And notice nobody's paying me millions of dollars. Just, but I just, yeah, I mean, so I'm going to try and keep watching this and see if it gets any better. But they're already off. I mean, like I said, when it comes to Star Trek, it is my absolute. It is the holy grail for me of science fiction. It is what got me into science fiction. It's what influenced a huge portion of my young adult life and made me a lot of the person I am. Help me. It helped me get a bigger vocabulary. I mean, I was a little farm kid from the middle of nowhere, Idaho, and it opened me up to a world that I mean, yeah, that's something you'd have never seen. I mean, I grew up on a farm, turning hay bales and combining grain and stuff. So I mean, it's just, and so to see them doing this is, it's sad. It really, really is sad. It's kind of that way. But yeah, yeah, you'd have to go see Michael. Michael Gambon was in it's kind of a weird science fiction film. Trying to remember something in Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow or something. He plays one of the characters in that, and yeah, it just like he is the same person no matter what you see him in. He's always the same. And I feel like that's what Patrick Stewart was doing in this, which is weird because I remember Patrick Stewart when he was in Dune. And I didn't know who he was, but when I figured out that the captain for the new show Star Trek The Next Generation back when I was growing up was going to be the same guy that played Gurney Halleck from Dune, I'm like, hey, this is going to be good. He already had science fiction acting credits to his name when he signed on to be Captain Picard, and so I was excited about that. I mean, it's just so I love Patrick Stewart. It's like Ian McKellen. I love Ian McKellen. He is a fantastic actor and is totally committed to whatever role he's performing. He is that person. He becomes that person. And if you're not going to do that, just get out of acting. Get out of acting because that's just wrong. But anyway, so I've only seen the first episode of this. But I mean, if I had to grade it, I'd give it a 4, maybe a 4. I can't see this being something that is just gonna catch me and blow me away. Yeah, yeah, and to I mean, you're right, Curtis. And it's amazing that they did that Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow, and it was one guy that animated and did all that in like his basement. And then people found out what he was doing. He sent footage to some of these actors, and that's how he got all those big names to be in his film. I mean, it was a one guy operation who just did it out of his basement. And freaking, I mean, it's not the best movie ever done ever of all time, but the sheer fact of the accomplishment for what that guy did, given what he had to work with. I mean, he got Jude Law in his movie. He got Michael Gambon. What's her big lips, Thousand Children, Angelina Jolie. I mean, he got all these big people to be in his film, and I don't think he paid anybody for it. So yeah, the animation and stuff was, I mean, just amazing for, like I said, being the fact that this is before like kind of today, what was that movie 15 years ago? Something like that. And I mean, he was doing that all himself. I mean, people are doing that now, but software and computing, I mean, it's all changed since then. Anyway, but yeah, the if you've heard nothing but bad about Picard, it's pretty lady. Yeah, I mean, she just, yeah. And I wanted this to be good. And it is, from what I understand, it's better than Discovery. I didn't hate it. I kept sitting there thinking, when are they going to turn the Star Trek on? And I never, Starfleet abandoned the Romulans, which they never would have done. They created a slave race of people, of androids that destroyed Mars, blew up Mars, destroyed the Utopia Planitia shipyards, using these ships that you've never seen before. They're not recognizable as from any one group or another. It's just like, oh, the androids just built all these ships in their spare time and then attacked Mars. I mean, it's not Star Trek. It's the dystopian Star Trek. It's JJ Trek. It's Kurtzman Trek. It is not Star Trek. And that's what I mean. All of these science fiction, these shows that J.J. Abrams did, and Kurtzman and whatever, and Akiva Goldman, it'd be fine for them to go make these shows. Just don't call it Star Trek, because it's not. If you call it Voyage to the Stars, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, but don't call it Star Trek and pretend that we're all the problem because we don't get your vision. Because your vision is not the same vision as Gene Roddenberry. This is not Gene Roddenberry's vision. I can say that definitively. This is not what Gene Roddenberry wanted. Never in a million years. This is absolutely antithetical. Can't speak tonight. Yeah, antithetical. There we go. To what Gene Roddenberry saw for the future. He saw hope. He saw a human race that had overcome its foibles. He saw a human race that was inspired. That's what science fiction is supposed to do: inspire, entertain, uplift. I mean, it's supposed to. Yeah, there's no money in that, but I don't think there's any money in this either. That's the crazy thing. I was listening to another stream today, and somebody made a comment that was like, if this show was on network television, it had been canceled after the second episode, because they're throwing a bunch of current day politics into a science fiction show. Never a good thing to do, because whenever you're doing that, you're dating your science fiction. You're putting an expiration date on it. I can watch episodes of Next Generation, and they could apply to any time in history. Same thing with Star Trek, the original series. Same thing with DS9. Same thing with Voyager. I mean, even Enterprise. Less Enterprise because it is more of a period timepiece. But I mean, and it's not my favorite Star Trek, but even that was Star Trek. It had that hopeful humanity becoming better, thing. And I just studio. yeah. So I mean, it doesn't take much to overcome Star Trek Discovery when your show's that bad. That this is the improvement. I mean, anyway. So it's sad that they had this opportunity and they've missed it again. They've decided to interject current day politics into another one of our series, into another one of our franchises, for their own political ends. And you know what? If you're going to do that, fine, because that's been done in science fiction for a long time. But you've got to be smart about it. And that's the thing. Star Trek has always had political themes in it. I mean, that's why they did in the original series, they did episodes where the Nazis were involved. They did the episode where the guys had the one half white, one half black. That was a episode on racism and the foolishness, because the one guy had white and black and the other guy had white or black or white and black. So they were just slightly opposite, and they hated each other and they destroyed their world over it. I mean, I'm just like, that just tells you on the inside, they were the same, but on the outside, they couldn't get past that. I mean, that was an absolute, indictment of racism. But they were clever. It wasn't in your face. It wasn't overt. It made you think. It made you pull back and go, I wonder if I've been thinking about this wrong. And that's what great science fiction does. Great science fiction makes you think, challenges your beliefs and understanding of the world you live in a way that that doesn't put you on your heels right away. Maybe that's the best way to be. You don't just immediately tune out because it sounds like a bunch of Democrat horseshit and stuff. I mean, so it's like or conservative. Who wrote this? Donald Trump. It's just like, well, when you do that, nobody's going to listen. You've immediately polarized everybody, and you've immediately cut yourself off from 50% of your audience. That's not a good business model. It's just not. Sorry, I'm reading a comment from Curtis. So, got to do it right. Blade Runner 24. So interesting though. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, if you're going to do it, you've got to do it smart. You have to do it right. I like the Blade Runner 2014 or 2049, but it didn't do very well. I don't think I don't think it quite stood up to the original, but it was good. I mean, it was an interesting science fiction show, and they got Harrison Ford back, and I mean, it was something I could watch again. I'm just like, I think this is a one and done. The Star Trek Picard I'll watch it once, and then that's probably all I'll ever watch it if I make it through the rest of the series. As where something like The Expanse or The Orville, you can watch that over and over again, and it just gets better. I mean, it's science fiction being done right, because there's overt political themes in The Expanse, but they're clever. They're smart. They don't throw it in your face. And like I said, it's the best way to do science fiction. It makes you think. But yeah. See, and the old Star Trek made you or taught you how to think, and this new Star Trek tells you what to think. It doesn't challenge you. It assaults you. It browbeats you and tells you that what you think is wrong. Think like we think. That's not Star Trek. And that's not good science fiction. That's not good film. Doesn't matter what film. It doesn't have to be science fiction. I mean, unless you're doing a political docudrama on an election, then wrong. So, but yeah, I don't know. Like I say, I love Star Trek, and to see these things happening to our national, trying to think how the best way to say this. This is happening to our modern myths. Maybe that's the best way to put that. They're destroying everything great. And I got into an argument on my last video that I put out. I had somebody get on there, and I can't even think of his name now, and I don't want to call him out. But me and him went back and forth, and I mean, we were like these long comments in the comment section of my last video. You should go take a look. But it was really I mean, it was like arguing with somebody who was going to cling to their point no matter what I said. And he couldn't refute anything I was saying. He just kept going. Basically, it was like having an argument with someone who's going, well, it is what it is. And then you say something, clever or thoughtful, or at least I thought it was, well, it is what it is. You can't, I mean, you might as well just be like banging somebody in the head with a piece of wood, because you're not getting anywhere with that. I mean, so, but they made the movie right. I'm trying to respect. They tried hard. Yeah, absolutely. They respected the lore of what came before in the original Blade Runner. Yeah, I totally agree, Curtis. It was, I mean, and it's like Terminator, because I know Curtis did some. Go subscribe to Curtis YZ. He does some great videos, especially his series on the Terminator, the music and the different things in that. It was awesome, dude. It was seriously some great videos. Because the Terminator was like that. You had the first one that was a great film, and you had the second one that respected everything that came before and built on it and made it better. And then after that, yeah, no, it all went down. It went this way, and it went went to hell. Yeah, without respect, we reject. I have to agree with Doomcock on that. He's got that 100% right. But but yeah, I don't know. See, Aliens did the same thing for me. The original Alien, great film. Aliens, unbelievably. But I mean, that's probably one of my all-time favorite sci-fi horror films of forever. I don't know that anybody will ever top. I mean, a lot of people don't consider it a horror, but it is. But after that one, you could throw those films away, and I wouldn't. You wouldn't even hurt my feelings one little bit. I mean, the third one had its moments, but after that, I just couldn't. Like, I don't know. It's just happened. Prometheus, it had its moments, but and I think they tried to respect what came before, but they I didn't understand that film. A lot of people love it, but I got lost in that film. I'm just like, I don't understand what's happening, because you got one guy who's freaking out one minute, and then the next minute he's trying to pet this evil, sadistic alien snake. I'm just like, weren't you the guy that was terrified and wanted to run back to the ship 30 minutes ago? I don't get what's happening. I just, but yeah, and Curtis was bringing up the fact that Michael Fassbender's character in that show, he was good, but Michael Fassbender's a good actor. I think he could make the shittiest film good with just his performance most of the time. And honestly, to bring this back to Star Trek, that's the only thing saving Star Trek Picard right now is Patrick Stewart. His charisma, his charm, his ability to emote and I mean, when he's in the dream sequence where he's talking to Data and he tells Data, I don't want the game to end. I was just like, I mean, I was like, I almost wanted to start tearing up. I'm just like, and that's what he brings. But I mean, one guy can't save a horrible film. One guy can't save a doomed TV show. It's just, unless he manages to pull this back around. But from the interviews that I'm seeing, he's kind of part of the problem with this. He wants to do a commentary on Donald Trump and Brexit and this, and I'm just like, oh no, the one guy I counted on to save this might be the one who's causing the problem. So anyway, still, he's always I mean, I'll always remember him as Professor X, and like I say, from all of his films. But yeah, Prometheus had a lot of stuff. Yeah, it's like with Prometheus, they started off right, and then something went terribly wrong. Like the alien at the end doesn't look anything like the aliens that we remember. And maybe it was because it was I don't know what that race, the builder race. I don't know what that race was called. The progenitor race. Just like, but yeah, there was a lot of things that I just felt like they went off the rails on that show, which is weird because usually Ridley Scott is somebody you can depend on to, or at least he used to be able to, somebody you could depend on to make a decent film. But he's had a couple of misses here lately, and I don't know if he's just lost his mojo or what. But for our blah, just understand the Prometheus. Yeah, see, and that's what I went to Prometheus for. I knew it was supposed to be the story for how that ship ended up on LBJ 426. And I'm like, that's got to be an epically good science fiction story. So that's why I went to. Isn't it sad that I know the name of that planet right off the top of my head, or the designation? But I love. I'm seriously. I've probably seen Aliens like 100 times. I've watched it over and over and over again. Never get tired of it because the cast for that film was so good. Michael Biehn. I just lost his name. The guy was like, game over, man. But the black guy that plays the sergeant, Vasquez. I mean, just that whole cast was fantastic. Even if that had been kind of a mediocre film, which it wasn't, they made that film work. Bill Paxton, thank you. It was like right there, and it's sad because we lost Bill Paxton, here a couple years ago. So, but yeah, it's just I don't know. But I with Prometheus, I got stuck. I was just like, I don't know. I walked out of that film just going, I don't know what just happened. I don't, and yet my cousin that went with me loved it. Absolutely loved Prometheus. Thought it was the best film ever. And I'm just like, okay. So I mean, it's just everybody went, but I don't think he went into it thinking it was the sequel or a prequel to the Aliens trilogy. Anyway, so but I hope Star Trek Picard gets better. I really do, because I want good Star Trek. I mean, I was just looking, like the redhead too. Yeah, they're all great. I mean, it was just even the pilot gal. We're in the pipe 5x5. I hear that every time I play StarCraft or StarCraft 2 and stuff. They use that line and that voice of that gal for the drop ship of the humans. Anyway, sorry, I'm off on a tangent again. But I don't know. I've lost my train of thought. Well, too much sleep deprivation. But yeah, I hope they get this fixed. I hope they make it better. I hope we get good Star Trek again. But unfortunately, I don't think we're getting good Star Trek again till Viacom, CBS gets this mess figured out with the licensing, the 25% different supposed contract that makes all of Star Trek not look like Star Trek anymore. So I don't think we're going to get back to that till they finally kick that secret hideout and Alex Kurtzman and Akiva Goldsman out of Star Trek and get back people like Rick Berman, Harv Bennett. I'm not sure Harv Bennett's still alive, but he did Star Trek forever. And get back people who know and love Star Trek, but who can see a future where they go on. Stop going back and doing prequels. I'm about prequeled out. I want to see you go forward. I want to see further into the future than we've ever seen before. I don't even mind the Romulan homeworld being destroyed, but how they've gone about it is just stupid. It's like, oh, the Federation didn't come help save the Romulan people. They're all gonna die. I'm sorry, it was the Romulan Star Empire. They had possibly hundreds of worlds under their control. They had hundreds of ships, warships, cargo ships. You're telling me that they could not have seen the supernova coming and gotten their people off and relocated to a new homeworld by themselves, even if they needed a little help from Starfleet? The whole premise doesn't make sense. And so when you build your house on a foundation of sand, don't be surprised when it sinks. It's just, that's never going to work. But not just attractive wise, but she be yeah. Not many of us could lay there and let some machine cut us open to get an alien out of us. But yeah, I don't know. I really hope for things to turn, and that for people who truly love these science fiction franchises to get back in control of them, so that they'll go in a better direction. And like I say, I'm not opposed to change. And that's what this guy I was arguing with last night on my comment section, we were going back and forth on. He's like, well, it's, everything changes. It's just the way it is. And I can't, we would, the people of our generation don't like what the new generation likes. And just like we didn't like what our parents, I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I liked the same things my parents liked, and I liked the new stuff that came along too. That's like saying, because I was born in the 1970s, I can't like 1950s music. That's, his arguments were so just idiotic. It was just like he was just stuck. He was just stuck. And I'm like, you're because he really against the Phantom Menace. And I'm just like, look, I'm not a shill for the Phantom Menace. I like a lot of those guys and I like a lot of what they're saying, but I don't like everything. But you're just throwing them out wholesale because they don't agree with you. And that's just dumb. That just is a dumb way to run your life. And I mean, I don't agree with a lot of people on a lot of things, yet I love have conversations with people about it. That's why I'm doing YouTube, because I wanted to connect with people who loved the stuff that I loved. And even though we might not always agree on what was good or what was bad, the conversation was what I was after. Because I mean, people helped me see. I mean, Curtis YZ, who's in the chat right now, he helped me get a better handle on the music for the Mandalorian, which was my major hang up with the Mandalorian. And afterwards, I because of the conversation that we had, I was able to go, huh, okay, that's not as bad. It's not as bad as I thought it was. It was. I mean, some of it I'm still a little rough on, but that's what makes fandom great, is finding the things that we like together, and then understanding somebody else's perspective that sometimes helps us come along and be able to enjoy something that we weren't 5 minutes ago, because somebody gives us an insight that we were missing. So I'm hoping that's what happens with this. I don't see it happening. But I've just been listening to all the videos and stuff on it today, and I'm just like, I gotta get on and say something. I gotta get on and talk about this, or I'm gonna lose my mind. Because all day, as I was sitting at work, whenever I stopped waiting for my truck to get unloaded and stuff, I'm on the live streams, just sitting there commenting like a mad, crazy fool, because I was just like, I was loving the conversations. Orville Nation did a live stream today that I was commenting. In fact, I think he's live streaming right now tonight. So I'll get off here and then let you guys go watch a lot more entertaining live streams than mine. But I want to start having guests on my live streams, and I think I'm going to start doing a live stream every Thursday night, or at least every other Thursday night, because every other Thursday I'm on the road, and I'm usually halfway back from Tennessee. So I think I'm going to start doing it every other Thursday, and we'll just pick a topic and we'll just start talking about it. But just like tonight, I don't want to be tied into a topic. We started talking about Star Trek. We ended up talking about Prometheus and aliens and what. So, for the record, it took me too on the music. Yeah. I mean, but yeah, I mean, you helped me kind of get past my initial so for that. So anyway, thank you guys for being here tonight. Thanks for participating in the chat. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun, and it's just fun to get to talk with people who love the same thing I talk about. Curtis, we're going to have to do a live stream together at some point, because I just love to be able to have that back and forth interaction that we haven't been able to have yet. So anyway, thanks for coming tonight. Let me know what you guys think about the sci-fi, what's going on. Comment, let me watch my videos, or just hit me up on Twitter and start a conversation. I'm always ready to conversationalize about a topic. This Saturday night, I'm supposed to be live streaming with the Ambassador on his channel. We're going to be discussing the 1984 film of Dune, where they're making a new one. I love the original Dune. The original Dune film from '84 was freaking awesome. So, this is my friend. Oh, awesome. Okay. So yeah, let's get together and make that happen if you're up for it. But yeah, I love, see, and there again, Patrick Stewart was in that. Great cast. It made something that probably was a movie that could have failed. Just one of my all-time favorites. I loved Dune. So if you love Dune and you're interested, pop over to the Ambassador's channel this Saturday night, and he's invited me to be on there, and I'll be on there talking about Dune. So till next time, thanks for watching, and we will talk to you all next time. Bye now.